I don't think anything that I said was indicative acting or putting on a facade.
No, it's not sitting right with me. It's just not.
Now, Belle, now that you're sitting in front of the experts, you don't feel like Mecca's being performative when you just called him out on being performative a few days ago? Girl, come on now. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 20, Episodes 8 and 9. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. So sorry this video is coming so late, but guys, I be traveling. This batch of episodes that's coming, I will be in town, but the next batch, I will be traveling again. So I'm gonna try my best to get them out in a timely fashion, but it is what it is, child. So getting into this episode, we start with Devin and Caitlin. They seem to be doing better. She's engaging more when it comes to physical affection. They're communicating better. They're understanding each other. I said, this is nice. This is very nice. There's still a lot of work to be done with these two, especially on Caitlin's side. But seeing where they were at the beginning, this is so much progress. So good for them. Then we have Felipe and Tori. They are having dinner with Felipe's family. And he's like, yes, I am trying to give Tori some time. However, if we're not progressing, if the physicality is going to be tabled the way that it's been tabled, I fear that the spark might disappear.
I'm really trying to lean into my marriage.
Maybe this will work. I'm giving it my all. I always told you, you need to invest time.
I'm gonna try to be just a monogamous, good husband. I need to stay fully focused on one person because you know I like to date around.
A few episodes ago, I had said, I can hear Tori when she says that it might have just been too much too fast. She got very vulnerable with this guy sooner than she had anticipated. And so, you know, she retreated, right? But a part of me was also like, was there aftercare? That's just a question that I have. And the reason why I asked that question is because it adds to the safety. And I feel like what Tori is saying, without explicitly saying, is that she doesn't feel entirely safe with Felipe. Here's a man literally saying that monogamy is something he has to actively work on. He has to make a conscious decision to be a faithful person every single day. I'm sorry, that is not reassuring whatsoever. I don't care that you signed up for Married at First Sight. If I know that, which Tori does, I'm not going to feel comfortable giving myself to you fully, especially knowing that this is something that Tori struggles with, even when her family is concerned. She struggles being open with her own family. And then you hear the person who you are legally bound to, yeah, is a flight risk. I would feel worried that I might have given myself, can y'all hear that thunder? My Lord. I would be worried too that I might have prematurely given myself to somebody who doesn't have my best interest at heart. I just wonder, what is Felipe doing to make Tori feel safe? Because right now it doesn't feel like he's doing much. Nick says he's unsure where he stands with Courtney because one day things are good, the next day things are bad. Honestly, we are all confused because Courtney confuses herself. She talks herself into circles. So then Nick asks where this abandonment thing comes from. And Courtney herself is a little bit confused because she says that she comes from a loving family, that she also has so much love to give. But for some reason, she ends up being in these relationships where there isn't a lot of respect or a lot of love.
I don't like to say how I feel. It's that fear of like, you know, ruffling feathers, whole fear of like someone's gonna leave.
Has that happened or is it just like a fear that you have?
I've never been in maybe like a super loving relationship. None of my relationships were like maybe like real relationships, like very like foreign and like new.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say she could have, okay, let me not speak like it's a fact. She could have self-esteem issues. And I think a part of it also has to do with Nick and his history. So I think a part of her is like, okay, Nick has been on all these shows. Is he here just to cash a check? That is a real concern to have. But another part for me is she sees that he has been on all these shows. Some of them have been dating shows. There were people at her wedding who literally knew who he was. When she first saw him, she was like, oh my God, he's so attractive. He's so this, he's so that. And if she's used to people not respecting her, not loving her, and leaving her, maybe she's like, bruh, this guy literally is like a hot commodity. What is he gonna wanna do with me? You know, I wonder if that's what's playing on her mind a bit. I do think that she's coming in with baggage for sure. She even admits that she's carrying a lot of her past into this relationship. But I think it does not help that Nick is at the very least noticeable. He is somebody who you will notice, you will recognize, maybe not exactly where he comes from, but you've seen that face before. And now he's even going to be even more recognizable. I think that that's partly what's playing in her mind. Another reason why I think it could be a self-esteem thing is, and now this one is pure projection, okay? When she was talking about the whole, like, oh, he's not a handyman, he's not, you know, super macho and whatever, I think a part of that could be how she views herself and her femininity. Because I'll be so real, before I got married, I had similar thoughts about guys who weren't like super manly or macho or whatever. I'd be like, ooh, this feels a little feminine, and I feel like if I'm in this situation, I present as more masculine, and I don't want to do that. So I want somebody who makes me feel like I can be in my soft girl era. Yo, this thunder is no joke. Okay. The lights might go out soon, guys. We'll see when this video comes out. I didn't feel like I could be soft and dainty and feminine and whatever because I just didn't feel safe with those people. And they didn't exude like this exaggerated version of masculinity. So I wonder if all these things are playing a part into what's going on with Courtney. Because my thing is, like, if you have so much love to give and you've experienced love from your family, I would assume that when somebody's trying to love on you, you would be receptive to that, right? So here is Nick seemingly trying. He wants to get to know her better. He wants to be physical with her. He's trying to open up, but she's putting up these walls. What's really going on? Sean and Nikki sit with Paul, and I was thinking to myself, put me on the list as an expert. Because the things that Paul was calling out, I was like, weren't we saying the same things?
You're living in two totally different relationships. This, to me, is the most fascinating aspect of your marriage.
I don't feel seen. I don't feel respected. There's two things. There's this,
I'm sorry. You started to place blame on him.
Oh, okay.
I can relinquish power because of my childhood. Power has been a big part of why we're not connecting.
I wanted to see how you would hold space. That sucked. That was a dissertation.
Paul asked Nikki and Sean to rate their marriage. She gives it a 2 something. He says 7.5. And then Paul is like, I think you two are living in different realities. Hello? Like, literally, that's what I was saying. I was like, either one or more parties are lying about what's actually going on. Whatever we are being presented by the two of them is not what's really going on. And they always have a different impression about what happened whenever they have these altercations. So I'm like, no, you guys are living in two completely different realities. And somebody's lying, or everybody's lying. But the point is, lies are being told, okay? So then Paul asks Nikki to reflect on how things have been going. And at first, she went on the attack, and Paul has to check her and to say, oh, this is about feelings. These are about I statements. Don't point the finger. Talk about how you feel. And I'll be honest, I do think sometimes Nikki does lean into being snappy, which can make it hard to resolve conflict from time to time, right? Then when she vented about how things were going, Sean was asked how he receives that information. Sean went straight into intellectualizing everything. He turned into big psychologist, trying to, write a whole dissertation. Paul is the one who said, that sounded like a dissertation. You did a horrible job holding space for this woman. And I agree. He uses a lot of big words. And it's like he weaponizes therapy speak. Guys, like, he does. He simply does. And it's great that you're educated. It's great that you are a learned man. You are a doctor. That's amazing. But this is not your patient. She's not your student. She's not your client. Like, you need to be a partner, not a parent. Okay? So then he ran it back, and he was able to really hold what she was saying, hold space for what she was saying, actually connect emotionally with the words that she was saying instead of trying to regurgitate things back to her in like an educational scope, which is not what's needed in a relationship, right? So later on, they did talk about the different factors that lead to why they've been clashing, and they both do admit that they have big egos. A part of that comes from their past relationships, but it also comes from being Black in America and constantly feeling like you have to prove yourself all the time. He says that he tries to prove that he's right because he feels like he has to be the person who's right all the time. And she says, listen, I'm a Black woman. I'm constantly not misunderstood. I'm constantly, what was the word that they used? Anyways, underestimated. I think that's the word. Because they both feel like they're constantly underestimated, they have a point to prove, and they've both been trying to prove a point in their relationship, and that's just never going to work. She did cook for him. He ate it up. He was even flirting a little bit. She was like, oh, don't flirt with me. I said, oh. What a very confusing union. Michelle and Cameron have a conversation about money. So she came into this process looking for somebody who made at least $150,000 a year. Cameron don't make that.
Right now, I don't make, right now I do not make that. You know, I didn't love that. Traditional generals kind of emasculating, but
I don't see you as less masculine.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Cameron, I was this close to getting in that ass. I was this close because Cameron said he has accomplished all these things in life. And the next step for him is to get married and have a family. However, his life is not conducive for that. He has a job that is seemingly unstable. He's not making money that even he feels he should be making. He's like, I would need to have another good season and then maybe potentially, hypothetically in the future, possibly, potentially, maybe sort of kind of, I could maybe get a raise. What the hell? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? It also should be noted that he applied for a show that is in a city that he does not live in. I get it. The city is close, but still. He's not even in that city, and his job won't even guarantee that he will be in the city in the near future. I'm so sorry. I think that I understand him being taken aback by the conversation he's having with Michelle, but Michelle is ready to have a family, and a family requires finances. Especially considering that her fertility is going to be an uphill battle. That's going to require even more finances. So yeah, money is on her mind. It's not the end all be all, but for some reason Cameron took it as that, and he said that he felt emasculated and all the, oh my God, she had to stroke his ego, and she's like, listen, I still see you as a provider and a protector. This doesn't make me think any less of you, but he also needs to be thinking about his finances, and if they are in a place where he can support a family. Not to say he has to be the sole breadwinner of the family, but if things were to fall on you as the man of the house, would you be able to hold it down? Questions that need answers. Mecca and Belle have a sit down with Dr. Paz. I'm not going to sit on it too much because their conversation in the group session was way more interesting to me. So basically, Dr. Paz is not buying anything that Mecca is selling. She feels like he is not being authentically himself right now. He says that the reason why he's struggling to be more affectionate with Belle Jolie is because he has sexual anxiety and he has a fear that if he doesn't perform, he will be judged negatively. Now, it should be noted that Dr. Paz is not saying they need to have sex. Dr. Paz is saying, hey, forehead kisses is something that I give to my son, something that I give to my kids. Where's the passion? Where's the fire? Where's the romance? You know what I'm saying? Now, Belle Jolie, this is where we start to see her being a little bit performative too. She's going to later be like, oh, but I love the forehead kisses and I love that. No, you don't. No, you don't. You literally were complaining saying, I need him to be more affectionate. I need him to take initiative more and all of that. But now you talk about, oh, no, I'm okay with. Okay, girl. Anyways, these two are eventually going to have sex. And after they have sex, they're a lot more chipper and all that, which is great. But the experts are still not fully buying it. We're going to get into that a little bit later. We see Sean and Nikki talk about their egos and all of that. I already spoke about that. Adam and Marissa, they try to do a sexy massage. His cat kind of killed the vibe, obviously. Why are your animals in here? We're trying to have me and you time. Like, what? Adam, we're going to get into Adam too. Nick and Courtney, they went to the gym together. At first, he was trying to be in the gym with her, and she was like, oh, I'm not really big on gym PDA. Mind you, he was trying to help her up to the bar so she could do pull-ups. It wasn't even anything overly affectionate. Courtney, I'm gonna need you to try a little bit, mama. Just a little bit. Anyway, speaking of needing to try, Caitlin and Devin go to one of her cycle classes, right? Spin, whatever. She hosts these classes, fitness classes. And after, they meet with her friends. And in the same way that I was like, Courtney and Caitlin don't need to be speaking to each other, I think Caitlin and her friends, I don't know, maybe I'll need a little bit of a break.
None of my friends are gentle people.
Caitlin's also very like an independent person. She's gonna need her space. I literally just spent a month away from my husband. Come on when you feel like it. Can we fix his hair? We're adults. Pretty poor choices in my opinion.
I am glad that Caitlyn immediately was like, oh no, he's a nice guy. He's good to me. I can see the potential, blah, 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 whatever. That was good. However, Caitlyn does say she holds her friend's opinion to a high regard. And if this was a week ago, the floor shook, guys. Oh my God. Yeah, we're losing power today. Anyways, if this was a week ago, I think she would have ran. Her friends immediately went into cracking jokes about him. Oh, what's with that blonde hair? And oh, you know, that's something that you would do like when you're younger or something. Like kind of insinuating that he's either immature or he's not serious and whatever. And then they're almost validating the lack of effort that Caitlyn is putting in. But Caitlyn herself knows she has to be doing a little bit more, especially because Devin has made so many concessions to make her feel more comfortable. I did not like that the friends weren't challenging her a bit more, because there's a way to make your friend feel heard and understood, like we get what you're going through, but also marriage is not easy, especially an expedited type of marriage where you have to come to a decision in a handful of weeks. You're gonna have to step it up, friend. But no, here they are cracking sirens. My God. Here they are cracking jokes and they're adding to like the avoidance that she's already experiencing. And it seems like it's going to get worse because Devin is acknowledging the strides that she's making, but he's still needing more. And it feels like the experts also are saying that they require a bit more from her. I think that her friends' opinions, because there's probably more than what they shared on camera, are going to be playing on her mind. And Courtney and Nick are on their way to meet with her family, and in the car she says that if she were to have a family, she would love to live in Oregon because that's where her support system will be. And Nick really isn't too keen on leaving Seattle, of course, because he applied for a show that was based in Seattle. The assumption would be that he wouldn't want to leave. Anyways, she's now gonna use this as like a thing, right? She's gonna go into the family meeting being like, and he doesn't even want to move. Yeah, no shit, he applied to be on a show that's based in Seattle. You would assume that he wants to stay in Seattle, but whatever. So when they pull up, they are holding hands, but before she opens the door, she's like, oh, let's drop hands because they're gonna make fun of me. So much for coming from a loving home.
You have to grill him, and he hates Oregon. Nothing's wrong. Like, there's nothing.
I'm always concerned about the guy that's sitting in his basement.
He does play a lot of video games.
You're obviously getting out of the house and you're doing things.
Yeah. Full-time job.
Talk shit about Nick. What do you think?
I like him.
Am I nitpicking? I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. You guys aren't with him 24/7. You're also not asking the hard questions, so maybe I'm right.
Get Courtney off my screen. She's so negative. She's, quite frankly, annoying. And she's making me side with Nick again. That is your biggest crime, Courtney. Why is she walking into this family meeting getting ready to rip this man into shreds, or at least have her family rip him to shreds? Even when looking for problems to have with Nick, they could not find them. They could not find issues. Courtney herself literally says, things are going so well. There's nothing wrong. So why do you keep digging? I understand wanting to make an informed decision. I understand not wanting to, have the okie doke get done on you, right? But at this point, you are purposefully pushing somebody away, and it has nothing to do with what they're doing and everything to do with whatever fear that you're operating in. And that to me is not fair. He came in, hopefully, looking for a genuine relationship. He should also be allowed to experience something that's real. And you're keeping him from that because you constantly want to find bad things where they aren't present. Like even the sister was like, yeah, I know you want me to like get in that ass, but girl, I don't even know what to say. Like, he's great. The parents are like, yeah, he's great. If we're to assume that Nick came in with good intentions, he came in for a genuine relationship, he should be allowed to experience just that. A genuine relationship. If you like this man, then let's go with that. If you don't, then let's be honest about that. Because now nitpicking and trying to look for things that aren't even there, to me, that just feels so unfair. But anyways, fast forward to the group sessions. Adam already starting with the peacocking. He comes in with a very bright, colorful, loud shirt. He even unbuttons it to get more attention. And immediately, the experts are like, yeah, we don't like that. Stop with the performance.
So excited to see everybody.
Your attire.
It was really hot. I was like climbing the wall outside.
That's the stuff that we're not going to do tonight. That's someone who's deflecting from vulnerability.
My family growing up was never open about stuff and kind of bottle up your emotions, all that stuff. So
It's gonna make my girl cry like that, bro.
That's the deflection.
When the experts were clocking Adam, it looked like he wanted to punch a wall. He looked like he was seething, just so mad. Not like, I'm gonna like beat somebody up. Like, I'm being facetious when I say he wanted to punch a wall, but you could see that he's like, they see me. Yes, because what is actually going on? One thing about Married at First Sight, they're gonna match people's attachment styles. They're gonna match people's traumas. They're gonna match people, like, oh my goodness. And everybody who we see, whatever they are like avoiding within themselves, their partner is doing the same. So yeah, he seems to be the person who's trying to do all these little theatrics to distract people from the fact that he's refusing to be vulnerable, but Marissa is doing the same. Not as showy, but she's doing the same. She's purposefully keeping things surface level because she does not want to make herself susceptible to getting hurt. Adam also doesn't want to get hurt. If I show you who I really am and you say, not for me, that sucks. That sucks. So I'd rather be the happy-go-lucky guy, the person who takes everything like a joke. Like, I just want to vibe, like whatever. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But if it does, it does. No, he claims that that's who he is. And I do think that that's a part of it. But a lot of what he's been doing on the show is definitely him like being performative, 100%. So the experts ask, have you guys spoken about Marissa's dad? They haven't. They've spoken about it on a surface level type thing. And they're like, yeah, that's not good. I feel like I know more about you than your own husband does. So she opens up about her dad and how he was absent and how he might also have mental health issues. And that also led to him not being able to adequately show up for her mom and the family and whatever. And then he talks about getting cheated on. And I don't know if this was new information to Marissa, but if it was, you're telling me after all the time being together, you guys didn't even touch on past relationships? What's happening? So anyways, her fears come from her dad not being present and leaving them, whatever. And his fears are him being cheated on multiple times and being left again. So again, they both are doing things in fear of getting left. If you're going to keep operating like that, it's never going to work. It doesn't matter what vibe you have between each other. Surface level is not going to get you far. Then we have Michelle and Cameron who are talking about how things are going, and the experts commend them on having hard conversations, and clearly having those hard conversations have brought them closer. They've even done the nasty. I said, oh, okay. And then we cut to a talking head of Marissa saying she wishes that Adam was as mature as Cameron. Mind you, Cameron has his pitfalls too. Don't get me wrong, but she can acknowledge the intentionality coming from Cameron that's not present with Adam. But is she going to tell Adam? No, she's not. She's going to keep pretending everything's fine. Oh no, we're vibing. Yeah, you're lying to yourself. And the only person who's going to suffer is you. Courtney is asked what's going on in her relationship, and she does admit that it's really hard for her to bring her walls down, and she does admit to purposefully putting the walls up to keep Nick from getting to know her on a deeper level. Nick is then asked how he's feeling about things. Like, let's unpack what's going on with you, because yes, we focus on the person who seems to be going through a lot of stuff, but you might be going through your own things too. He says he hasn't taken some time to think deeply about his feelings and all of that, and immediately Dr. Paz is like, I call bullshit.
What are your vulnerabilities? What are your pain points? I feel like I don't actually know.
I mean, those are good questions.
Thank you.
Probably haven't done enough deep thinking.
I call bullshit.
I feel like I need to think on it to give like a good answer. Okay, well, I feel like I gotta think of something good, so.
Tap into that vulnerability and you just shoot. It doesn't have to shake the world. It just has to shake you.
I'm so glad the experts were pressing Nick, because one thing we do know about Nick is that he struggles to express his emotions. He said that on his own at the dinner party. So I do think that that's something he does need to be challenged on. I kind of find it annoying how Courtney was like, see, I just want you to be real with me. Like, I just want you, but you too, you're also not being real with him. So like, you guys are both doing the same thing to keep from getting hurt. Everybody is so afraid of getting hurt. Why the hell did y'all come on this show to get married? What? It requires vulnerability. It requires being challenged. It requires showing up authentically so you have the best chance at working things out. What are we doing? You're wasting my time. Anyways, Yeah, Nick needs to open up more for sure. I can understand why he's probably holding back because number one, Courtney herself is also holding back. And number two, we've seen him on our screens plenty of times. I'm sure it's playing on his mind that he doesn't want to look stupid on television. Yet again, if I'm not mistaken, on Perfect Match, he was rejected. And I don't know what other romantic show he has been on, but I feel like he is used to, you know, coming across a certain way. And like Paul said, people who've been on TV have a tendency to self-edit. So I agree with the experts when they say they don't believe that he hasn't taken time to think deeply about what's been going on. He actually has done that. And in fear of looking stupid on television, he's self-editing, but he's coming across worse. Felipe opens up about what he's struggling with in his relationship. And yes, he understands that Tori is struggling with vulnerability, but he too is realizing that he's a bit more avoidant than maybe he had realized before coming onto the show. Like I said, these people are going to match attachment styles. They're going to they're making it so hard for these people. Anyways, Paul says at the end of the day, yes, being vulnerable is risky, but if those moments of vulnerability bring you guys closer, sit in that. Don't run away from it. And it seems like that's something that they have been trying to do. Then we have Belle and Mecca. This is where these two really pissed me off because, you know, Mecca wanted to get a pat on the back because he did his homework. Actually, he bypassed the homework and just, you know, went for honors, okay? So he was supposed to be a bit more affectionate. And instead of being more affectionate, they just went on and did the nasty. They went and had sex, which is great and all, but the experts are not buying it. They feel like he's been quite performative. And all of a sudden, Belle is like, oh no, but I believe everything that he's been saying. No, you don't. That's not true.
I don't think I ever not felt desired.
Really? Because I feel like that was the core of what you were feeling.
Was dinner more performative? You two showed up entirely different.
Felt authentic to me what he was saying. He's been transparent. He's been honest. All of that.
Mecca was not happy that he was called out on being performative, but he was being performative. Especially at the dinner party. He was like, I wasn't performing. I was just exaggerating. So performing. Anyways, Belle Jolie had pointed out the fact that she doesn't believe that he's able to flip that switch when it comes to physical intimacy as quick as he did. So you also question if he's being genuine or not. You question that. She also was asking him to take more initiative and all of that. So her now changing her tone was quite interesting to me. It seemed like she also didn't like at the dinner party when he would have these big outbursts that did feel quite performative to the experts. And I don't think she's being very honest about how those moments really made her feel. I think she wants to present as if they are doing well, but they're not doing as well as they want everybody to believe. So the experts then ask Mecca if he feels like he's deserving of love. And he says yes, but then he goes on to explain that basically he doesn't believe that he is because he sees people who are in these loving relationships and for some reason he doesn't see himself fitting into that cookie cutter image, right? Dr. Paz pointed out the fact that he might feel like he doesn't fully deserve love from women, especially considering being abandoned by both mothers. And I think that that's real. 100% that's real. He knows he has mommy issues. It presents itself in this way in relationships. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna need to happen with these two. Like they are making strides, but are they genuine strides? Don't know. Similar thing is happening with Sean and Nikki. All of a sudden, everything is so peachy in their relationship. Like they said one day, because they were tasked to rate their relationship like on a daily so they can have like daily progress reports. They said one day it was a 10 out of 10 and another day it was like a 9.5. Nobody's buying it. Everybody is calling BS. And it's true. I do think that they are making progress for sure. But it's not this exponential change that they're trying to make it seem. Even Nick was like, yeah, you're not going to make that much progress overnight. It's like, sure, you're heading in a good direction, but it maybe was one step instead of like 10. Last was Devin and Caitlyn. Caitlyn is aware that Devin's light is dimming. And it's, okay, she didn't explicitly say that she's enjoying the fact that his light has dimmed, but she did say she appreciates his current temperament. But the experts are like, but that's not him.
Why has your light been dimmed?
What she needs right now I think that's what matters.
I can also be a little flighty. Meet me 3 years ago and I was insane, off the walls, batshit crazy. I like our energy right now.
Love doesn't diminish you. A matter of fact, your partner will ask for more.
I'm actually so surprised by Devin. I was convinced that he was not as endearing as he was trying to make himself out to be, but I think he is. Even the experts say they believe that Devin is the most committed person out of everybody. I think that he's committed. I think, because I had wrote earlier that everyone is saving face besides Devin, Michelle, Tori, and Cameron. That's my belief. I think that they are showing up the most authentically. It might not be perceived well, but at least they're being honest. Devin is trying his best to be true to himself, but unfortunately, because he is a people pleaser through and through, he is losing himself in this relationship, and the experts find issue with that. I forgot to talk about, backtracking a little bit. I saw Dr. Paz get emotional about Mecca because she was like, I see this desire to be loved, but I don't know that you feel that you are either deserving or even capable of receiving that love. That made her emotional. I kind of feel similar about Devin. I think he so desperately wants to be loved, but unfortunately, Caitlyn is like such a hard nut to crack. And I can see Devin just becoming a shell of himself. And that's sad to witness. It really is. Caitlyn is trying. She is trying, but I do think a part of her still believes like, hey, listen, this is who I am, take it or leave it. And unfortunately, when it comes to marriage, like you are gonna have to make some compromise. When it comes to relationships, you can't just be like, this is who I am. Either you deal with it or you don't. A lot of people are gonna choose then not to. And that's fine. You do not have to be partnered. But if you are complaining about being unpartnered, you might have to do some introspection. You know what I'm saying? So we are going to see her get emotional because she feels like she has nothing else to give. I don't know, man. I do think that she has more to give, but she just has a lot that she's carrying coming into this process, which is the same with a lot of people. I really would love the experts to explain why they thought that this batch was a good batch to run with, you know? I feel like the pairings make sense in terms of what the people were looking for. But when you look at the wounds, for a lot of these people, the wounds are deep and they have not done the work to be able to show up well in a relationship, especially a marriage. But anyways, everyone has asked what their decision would be if today was decision day. Everybody says they'd be undecided outside of Michelle, Cameron, Tori, Felipe, Marissa, and Adam. Tori, Felipe, Marissa, and Adam are lying. They should be undecided as of today. I do believe that Cameron and Michelle can work through their stuff, especially because the episode ends with them talking about what the future would hold for them. And even Cameron is saying, you know what? I am realizing that the dreams that I did have do have to change. And I do want a family and kids, and that requires me to shift my life in a certain way. And so I'm willing to prioritize this. And I see that being possible for him. These other couples, they've got so much to work on. Your decision right now should be undecided. If it's not no, it's undecided. Yes? Hell no. Hell no. We will see what happens in the next batch of episodes. I forget what was going on. What was the preview? Whatever, don't matter. It's going to be the next day anyway. So as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.